what was it you needed to get from improvisation that you weren't finding in the classical world?
I think this is a really good question, 'cause I mean, I always had an itch for improvisation. And back home, the marimba music, Cuban song, danzón, which I used to play in bands informally, there is improvisation involved. At the time, I was like, okay, it's time to kind of take a solo on whatever instrument I was playing. I wasn't really thinking, oh, this is jazz or this is something separate. It was just, to me, it was just part of the music. Before I moved to the States, I got this orchestra job, which I think this had a lot to do with it too. My position was fifth percussionist, assistant timpanist. And for those people that know what that means, it's huge because basically I'm the last percussionist on the line that plays whatever is left, like all the toys, like triangle, cymbal, mallet parts. When we have mallet parts, which is rare, especially in the type of programming that orchestras do. So a lot of the times I was just sitting around, counting mixtures. And unless the timpani player will give me a chance to play timpani that week or something, so I started to really struggle with feelings of like, this is not what that music making feeling that I was explaining earlier, that connection to music. This is not exactly what I thought this was going to be. And I was starting to struggle with my feelings of what it really meant to be a musician and to express yourself through music. So I still always wanted to write my own music. I also wanted to pursue a solo career in a parallel manner to my orchestra job, but then eventually realized this is not gonna be possible, and so I got a chance to come to the States and be able to quit that job, and to me, that was just opportunity to pursue a way of performing that I thought would allow me to express myself a little bit more in a more personal way than sitting there in the back of the orchestra counting measures. So part of it was writing my own music, improvising, and a lot of it came from a classical marimbist. Her name is Keiko Abe. She's a Japanese marimbist who basically changed the world of classical music, of classical marimba. It's because of her that the marimba now has 5 octaves or more. She's the one that designed that instrument in the 50s, I believe. She also worked with composers like Toru Takemitsu, Minoru Miki, and so on to write repertoire, like formal repertoire for the instrument. She was one of the first soloists that could play with an orchestra as a solo marimbist, just like violinists do. So she had this huge impact in the instrument. And one of the main things that she does is she writes her own music and she improvises her own language
Wow.
during her concerts. So for me, I was like, I want to be like her. And so that was when I moved to the States. That was the initial dream. It was just to be another person that did solo marimba concerts and improvise and wrote her own music.